Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the lesson number 8 on our how to create a forest gremlin, gnomelin, whatever you want to call it, class. Last episode we went over hands. At this point you should have both hands finished. I just have one finished. And we're going to go over today how to attach our hand to the sculpture and how to kind of reposition things and how to get into sculpting the whole arm and sleeve. So by the end of today's class, you should know how to do all of that, and we should have both of our arms done for next week, which next week is probably going to be the torso, the clothing on the torso, the belt, all that stuff. Yeah. Sad I don't have either hand finished. That's fine. That's okay. You can just go back and watch, or you can watch this and, pick up the information. And then when you get to that stage, I'm excited to see how you guys have done with the hands. I know it's hard, so probably one of the hardest parts of a project is the hands. And you just know you're doing the hardest type of hands, which is just bare hands. I'm so behind. It's all right. I also want to announce to you folks that actually, let me see if I can pull this up really quick. So after we get done sculpting this character, I'll probably give it like a week or two in between the end of the sculpting class and the beginning of the painting class, and that gives everybody time to catch up, myself included. So in the painting class, I'm going to link a set of paints. I'm going to only use this set of paints when I'm painting my piece. So if you guys buy the same set, you can follow along exactly color by color. So it's let me see, it's made by Reaper Miniatures. I think it's a base paint set. Master Series Paint Starter Set, I'm pretty sure is what it's called. Let me see. Yep, that's the one. Okay. So it's let me pop the link here in the chat. That's not even set up. You already have plenty. Yeah, if you have plenty of paint, it's fine. This is just for people that don't have any sort of paint and they kind of want to. Colleen has the starter set linked in Discord. Oh, perfect. Okay, so check Discord for the starter set. I'm gonna buy that starter set, and even though I have tons of other paints, I'm just gonna use the paints from that set. So that way, for those of you that really want to follow along closely. If you have painting experience and you have other paints, obviously, you can just follow along and just use whatever colors you have. But basically, you want to have some sort of flesh tone set, some sort of flesh tones, which you can mix. If you're proficient with mixing color, your primary colors, so red, blue, yellow, and black and white. And some sort of a gold color and some sort of a silvery color, and that's pretty much it. So you can make all the colors. So when I started painting, I used to just buy big tubes of the primary colors and black and white and metallics, and then I would just mix everything, which you could do it that way. I really like, though, having these Reaper miniature paints, they're just more user friendly. You're not going to have problems where you're going to have to coat things a million times because the pigmentation's really high. So I'd say the hard part is discovering out of all the paints out there which ones are actually thick enough to cover, you know, because I used to have a problem finding good metallics that would actually cover, especially gold. For some reason you'll buy all these different golds and you'll paint them on there and it barely covers, and you gotta do like a million layers just to get it to cover. So I know Reaper paints is good for that. So okay, here we go. If you can order it through the link on Discord, through Reaper Miniatures site, or if you want to use Amazon, here's the Amazon link. Oh, hopefully that worked. Either way. Okay, so let's get into our class for today. I'm not sure if it worked. If it didn't work in the chat, it's because I don't have. Hold on, let's see. Let me pop it into here. It works. Okay. That was through the restream chat, so I didn't know. Perfect. Okay, so let's get into our reference for today. For today's class. Let me pull up our reference board here. All right, so sleeves is what we're focused on today. Let's see. All right. So you can see I've pulled up a bunch of references pertaining to cloth folds. The wonderful world of cloth folds returns. You've had a break from the cloth folds of the pants, but now it's time to dive in again. I also picked out a few references of just for artistic decision making. I seem to be leaning more towards kind of like sleeves like this character has. Or actually, which one was the one I saw? I got a few different examples, but kind of like this patchy, you know, full sleeve look. I liked how this one looked too, with like maybe a opportunity for an accessory on the sleeve there, right? It looks cool. And you'll take cloth over hands. And the one I really liked, let me see, it was down here. We go back to our original references to kind of come up with ideas. Where was it? It was this one right here. I like this one. Just kind of like this rolled up sleeve with some patchwork and some stitching, you know, something along those lines is where we're gonna go. And so you get that idea, that kind of foundational idea in mind, and then we go to back up to the top here to our actual wrinkle reference here. And you can see I got this one's a really nice one. It just shows all kinds of different sleeves and how they how the wrinkling looks on them, and you just want to study that. This is a great, nice, clean one. Shows that there's this twisting that happens in the sleeve, you know, almost like a spiral. This one just showing how the wrinkling happens when the arm is bent. So this is something to keep in mind, that the bend of the arm will change the wrinkling. And then of course our classic XYZ pattern. If you're following that, you guys all did a great job on your pants, those of you that are following, so I think you'll have no problem doing the sleeve. If you think about it, the sleeve is much simpler than the pants because it's just a cylinder. It's a single cylinder that bends this way or that way, you know. So it's a really simple thing. And so what we're gonna do is, you know, let's get into the. We're gonna treat the sleeve as a separate entity, and then when we do the torso, we can either make it match up to the sleeve, or you can make it like he's got a vest and it just kind of overlaps the sleeve, like undershirt sleeve or something like that. So looking at the folds and yeah, you'll find yourself in your day-to-day life studying objects a little bit more closely. Really observing something and saying, okay, what's going on here? What are the shapes doing? What are the lines doing? How can I recreate that? It's really all based on just shape and line. That's it. If you can get the shapes and the lines correct, textures and all that stuff is easy. It's that fundamental shape or line. Okay, so I finished up my hand and baked it. This is what I came up with. Like I said, we're just going to demo one of the hands today. The other hand, it's the same process, which I still have to finish my other hand. There's my other one. So, which if you need to learn how to do hands, just check out last week's episode. Okay. Set that down. Okay. And so this character, let's make sure we're putting the right hand on the right side, right? So the right hand on the right side. Don't want to mess that up. And so at this point, a lot of you guys had your stems for your arms is a little bit too long, right? So right now is where we're going to kind of gauge how it needs to be. And you're going to want to use your head as a unit of measurement to decide how long you want your arm to be. So typically from the shoulder to the elbow should be the same length as the elbow to the wrist. So you can use that measurement there. And however long you want your arms to be, that's totally up to you. On a proportionate character, the elbow is right where the bottom of the rib cage would be. Like if the arm was straight down. You know, if the arm was just hanging here straight down, the elbow would be right where the bottom of the rib cage is in like a normal human, right? So you can kind of use that as a guide if you want. If you want to make longer proportions or shorter, it doesn't really matter with this type of character. So you can see I kind of have what a natural proportion would look like, right? So there's the elbow right at the bottom there. And so then we can copy that over to here, and this is where the wrist would be. And then you get the hand going like this. So that is how my character would look. So first things first, before you do any posing, you're going to want to attach your hand to this. And so what we're going to do this is we're going to use two things. We're going to use some small wire. Grab some of that. Oh, see here. Yeah, have some wire cutters. There we go. So any sort of like real fine gauged wire, this is, I don't know, something really small, probably like 30 gauge. It's pretty much like a string. But you can use thicker ones or thinner ones. You always want to keep the thickness as thin as you can in this area, because the wrists tend to be pretty thin. So first step is to wrap this around the hand part. Get it kind of attached. We're just going to use this to kind of tether or tie it to this armature here. Again, don't worry about positioning or posing. Just kind of get it in the right direction, you know? So like this, like this. Could be like this. Could be like this. Could be like that. Oh, kind of like that. I think we'll do this. Maybe a little bit of an angle like that. Okay. Make that decision. And I'm just going to wrap it around nice and tight. Yeah, this is what this is going to do is it's going to hold it in place so we can get the next step, which is going to be to use steel stick. And if you don't have steel stick, you can use like a 5-minute epoxy glue. Just something to really add some structure to this this connection here. Technically the wire would be enough, but I just really like it to be really sturdily attached. Just winding it up and down here, just keeping things really tight. Now whatever you decide as far as the length and proportion on the first arm, just make sure you're going to measure that and copy it over to the second arm when you go to do the second arm. Whatever your decision is, you want the arms to be the same. If our armature is thick at the wrist, should we untwist it and remove some of it? You could untwist the spiral here a little bit and just cut one of the lengths of wire, you know what I mean? So you're just leaving one singular wire instead of having the two that are twisted. I'm telling you, this right here, it's pretty close to being too thick, but it's not. It's close, but it's not too close. And when I add the steel stick here, I'm not gonna butt it up to the wrist. I'm gonna add it more here towards the lower part, towards where it starts to thicken up at the forearm. So yeah, you could even technically, I could have cut this arm armature like right here, and then that way it's just the thickness of this hand armature, and then kind of tie it off back here. But yeah, just keeping an eye on the thickness, make sure it doesn't get too thick. In worst case scenario, if it gets too thick, you're just gonna sculpt like a wrist, little wrist wrap or something that looks like it's a piece of equipment there to kind of hide that bulkiness, you know what I mean? The wire coming out of my hand is pretty thick. Yeah, mine was pretty thick too. But yeah, maybe if it's thicker than this, you should consider doing the other, either kind of cutting back the arm armature so it's just that singular armature in that area, something like that. Okay, so next step, I'm gonna grab a glove here, and I'm gonna mix up some steel stick and just kind of pack it in around this connection and really secure it. You don't, like I said, if you don't have steel stick or you're not using steel stick, you can use another epoxy clay. Say you're using Magic Sculpt or Aves Epoxy Sculpt. You're gonna do the same step, you just have to wait for it to cure, which usually takes about 2 hours. Or if you don't have either of those, get yourself some 5-minute epoxy glue and mix up a little bit of it and kind of lather this area. Make sure it doesn't drip. Okay, I'm gonna cut off a slice about this big here. Just like that. And then we're gonna mix that up and apply it. Again, I'm gonna try to focus the bulk of it down towards the forearm. The nice thing is if you get where the elbow bend is wrong on your armature, you have some wiggle room to kind of like, you could add very little clay on the inside of the wire and a lot on the outside and move the elbow down to here. So you have room to adjust your proportions and move things around. That happens to me actually quite often, where I have to kind of adjust the proportions of things. It's just hard to tell where things have to be when they're just a piece of wire, so. Okay, so I'm gonna adjust this back to where it needs to be because it kind of sagged. Okay. And then we're going to add the steel stick. There we go. Squish it down, wrap it around. Go. It did need to be this much steel stick, but that's okay. Now we'll let that make sure our position looks good here. Just let that harden up. And after this is hardened, then we're going to be able to bend and move the arm around and get it exactly where we want. Because we want to think about his eye direction, right? The direction of his eyes, the story that we're telling here. And you can even, you know, kind of put your other hand in place and kind of really try to visualize the character's whole kind of final position of everything. His eye sockets. Yeah, well, his eye, we're gonna sculpt his eyeballs in later, and you'll need to make sure they're lined up to, you know, to there. Now that I think about it, it might have been easier to do the torso and all the head stuff first before we did the arms, but that's okay. Hindsight's 2020. It's just gonna be a little bit more of a, you know, reach around to get into there. Okay, just waiting for that to firmen up. Let's take a gander at our reference while that hardens. I do really like this kind of idea of some sort of band wrapping around the arm. It gives us an opportunity to add an accessory or a pouch there. So we might do that. Oh, here was another character I added that I thought was pretty interesting. A lot of you guys are doing more of the natural looking kind of character, so I added this one here. Gives you some cool ideas. Let's see how we're doing. That's starting to heat up. Not quite there yet. I was able to bake these accessories here and remove them from the base. There's the dagger. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I'm just sharing with you guys how I approach and do everything. You know, this is just how I do it. That's how I've done it for a long time. It's funny to to really see how things are gonna look. I'm excited for, so next, after we get done with the arms, we're gonna do the torso area. The back, you know, we're gonna focus a lot of our detail and stuff on the front here, because the back is gonna be covered by a lot of accessory stuff. So we're going to, in next week's lesson, do the whole torso area, figure out what's going on with the belt and the clothing up on the front here. Then after that's finished, I'm gonna get into the beard and the eyes and the hat and the ears. I think the problem when we get into that is usually you would bake it in many stages, so I'm gonna really have to try to fit it all in. Because normally you do like the beard and then you bake it, and then you do the ears and the eyes and maybe the eyebrows, bake it again. Then you do the hat and the hair, bake it again. Each time takes about 30 minutes though, 30 or 40 minutes, so I'll try to demonstrate as much as I can. Okay. That's getting pretty firm there. I think we can start moving it around, so. I will, yeah. I'll tell you guys when to bake things or what stages to do before you bake things. You know what? Before this hardens fully, I'm actually going to cut away where the bend of the elbow is. So that way we can reposition the arm. You can see it's actually pretty easy to cut right now. If I was to wait 5 more minutes, it's not going to be so easy. Okay. Let's get this a cut. Go. Okay, so now we want to think about our character and the position and everything. I usually don't like to have the eyes going kind of dead on, so maybe lower his arm like this, and that way the eye direction will be to the side a little bit. Maybe he's nearsighted, or what's the one where you can only see things when they're a little bit further away? Is that nearsighted or farsighted? Let's get that little bit of a bend. Always turn your piece around when you're making these decisions, these pose decisions. You turn it around and see how it's reading. Try to visualize mentally the character. Ask yourself if it looks farsighted, yeah. Ask yourself if he looks interesting. I'm also strategically creating myself more room, so when I do the beard, we have more room there. Let's turn that a little bit. Okay. Let me put the other hand in place and kind of see how that's gonna all look together. I think I'll end up adjusting this and having his elbow up kind of like this, like he's really got a lot of weight on his staff holding arm, because of the pack. Probably needs to be down a little bit more. I don't know. We'll figure that out once I get to that arm. Right now we're just focused on this arm. So. Okay. All right, so next step is we want to get a base layer of clay from the shoulder to the wrist. So we're going to add our clay glue. Spread it around with the brush. You want a little bit of overlap, so like up onto the back of the hand there a little bit. Just a little bit more. Okay. Now, first step is you add your base layer of clay, just a foundation layer, something to start building from. So I'm just gonna pull off a piece here, flatten it out, and we're just gonna wrap it around the arm. And done. There you go. Just kidding. Now we don't want air bubbles, so just focus on getting it pushed on there and nice and air bubble free. Doesn't have to be pretty. Okay, a little bit of piece right here on the inside. Now we don't have to do the arm anatomy too much because we've decided to go with a sleeved arm. But if you were to decide to go with a non-sleeved arm or a bare arm, you just need to look at your reference and try to mimic the shapes as best you can. Forearms can be quite, you know, maybe we can do that. I'll kind of roughly go over the anatomy and then we'll cover it with our sleeve. Sometimes it's better to do things that way anyways, so the key with arm anatomy is you have this bone right here, this wrist bone that's always on the pinky side. So let's put a dot of clay where that is. Okay. Right there. Then you have the elbow. It's the other landmark, which is right there. So we're going to put a dot of clay here too. Now typically there tends to be a line that connects the elbow to that wrist bone, and that's how you get that direction of that twist. That was always a hard thing for me to understand when I was a young and up and coming sculptor. That muscle group, the forearm muscles, always threw me for a spin trying to figure out how it's supposed to look. So there's a line here. Just draw this line, and this helps guide you the rest of the way with the muscle groups. Okay. Then we have kind of coming from the elbow, we have a bunch of muscle groups, but it really is just two main muscle groups. Let's see. Here's the crotch of the elbow right there. Just on the opposite side of the elbow. And here in the middle, you can kind of draw a line. And there tends to be a bigger group here and a bigger group here. So let's kind of... We don't want his arms to get too big, so when I'm adding these little muscle groups, I'm going to really thin them out with my fingers. Just to help give us the shape that's there. Blend it in. Try to get rid of those valleys, those bumps. He's old. Should he have sagging skin on the arms? You can do that. Just use your reference. My character, that's a detail thing. My character will have sleeves, so we don't need to worry about that too much. The sagging tends to happen here on the back of the arm. And yeah, you just want to make sure you use your reference. Now, what's interesting is if you pay attention to the reference, there's a muscle group that comes off of the forearm, and it actually attaches like back behind the elbow. So let's add that in there. Goes like this. And it just attaches. It extends beyond the elbow. Just kind of blends in there. It like grabs onto this bone here, and then when it compresses, it pulls the arm up. I'm gonna give him a little bit of a pronounced elbow, like that. And you have these little kind of muscle separation lines coming off like this, and again going with the flow of this line here. Maybe have a little one like that. Bingo wings. Alright, so now we're missing volume right here on the other side. The inside here needs some volume. See how it's kind of like concaved? Just gonna add that volume right there. Blend it up. There we go. Do another one of these little muscle groups coming off of the elbow like this. I would even add a little bit more here. There we go. And at this point, I would start, let's start doing the bicep area, bicep and tricep. Again, we don't want them to get too buff, so we're gonna do really flat bodies of muscle, but usually the bicep muscle goes right at the crook of the elbow here. Here's the shape, a little bit flattened. It attaches here, and it attaches here, right into the armpit. That's the bicep muscle. Push it down. There to there. And it kind of goes in the armpit, and it goes under the pectoral muscle. That's the key with muscles. Just look at where do they connect. From what bone to what bone? Start and how do they overlap? Then you'll start to really understand how things are supposed to look. Just kind of blending this in. Okay. Now let's do back of the arm. This muscle has an interesting shape. It tends to have most of its mass up towards the top, and then it gets really skinny towards the elbow. So this is the key too when you're adding your muscles. Like, make the muscle in your hand, make the muscle group in your hand. Then kind of place it and shape it. Now there's a valley here that shouldn't be there. There should be a bone coming off of this elbow. Right here. Going kind of straight into where the shoulder would be. So let's just fill that in. And there's all kinds of little small muscle groups, which we're not going to go over. Like I said, it's going to get covered up, but there's like a muscle group here on the in between the tricep and the bicep. There's like just a little group that goes there. And then once you get these muscles in place, you can then do the shoulder muscle. Which the shoulder muscle is kind of like a heart shape, like this. Comes to a point. I'll just say like more of like a rounded triangle. Well, kind of like heart shape, yeah, like this. That's your shoulder muscle. And it connects, this end connects to the arm bone. This other end wraps around the front and connects to the clavicle. You can see our guy's getting a little bit too buff. I'm gonna have to cut him back. And then this connects to the I don't know what the bone on the back is called. Essentially, one end connects to the front of the rib cage, the other end connects to the back of the rib cage. That's how that shoulder muscle comes together. That should give you folks that are doing no clothing on the arms a good direction as far as the basic shapes of the arm. So at this point you would blend things in. You know, you'd look at the size of everything, make sure your character's meatiness level is correct, you know. So like for example, ours looks a little bit too buff, so I would just start peeling away layers with the knife. Keep the shapes in place, but just kind of cut back the layers, and then you know, kind of like shave the surface till it's the right size. Then blend it all in, and start going towards the skin texturing step. Yeah, so technically, we're not doing the chest today, but you would have the, you know, pectoral muscle goes in between the shoulder and the bicep, so it goes right in between there. Just kind of putting it in place just to show you. Okay, so now let's clean up the forearm and the wrist area, because I think on our character you'll be able to see a little bit of the wrist. And then we're going to start kind of transitioning into doing the clothing. Just sort of blending in our shapes here. We want to really make the wrist and hand like seamless here, so just gonna fill in this valley. Kind of blend it upwards like this. We'll match up the texture once we get to the texturing step. If it's not really blending in, you can always apply a little clay glue, and that'll help it really kind of stick and blend together. There we go. Add a little bit of material here. Gonna use the tools. For anyone that's subscribing, or if there's any raids or anything coming in, or chat, thank you very much, by the way. And just know I will get to you guys at the end and give you a shout out. Today is a little bit different than our normal stream. I have to kind of stay on task with the lesson. But I do appreciate it. Thank you very much. And I will give you a shout out at the end of the class today. Thanks for supporting my work. Okay. Just cleaning up all around the wrist, making it really seamless there, kind of butting up to the hand. So, looks good. Now on the wrist here, on the inside here, you see we got these. I always like to put these little lines here that represent the kind of the fingers. So just right where the wrist meets up, I'm just gonna add those. And then I'll brush over that, and that'll kind of blend them in. Just adds that kind of tendony look. Let's look at our whole character here. See how he's looking. That's a mighty meaty arm there, my friend. Let's see. Looks ripped. Yep. And the way, so when you add muscles in this manner where you're adding these groups, he's going to look really shredded because there's no fat layer, right? No skin. So the more you blend it and smooth the muscles and cut down the size, the less shredded he'll look. So your character will always start off super shredded, and then when you blend things together, and it kind of works in that fat layer, then it starts to look less like that. So if that's not what you want, of course. If that is what you want, you don't want to blend in too much. You just want to kind of just enough to get rid of those seam lines with the clay. It's got old man strength. Okay, but we don't need to get too much into the blending here. I'm just gonna give everything a nice squish. We're gonna start adding our actual sleeve, which I think we'll have the sleeve kind of like right here is where it'll start. So let's begin with deciding how we want the edge of the sleeve to look. Let's take a flat piece of clay like this, flatten it out. If you had the time, would you normally bake before adding the clothes? You could do that, yes. So you could do your understructure and then add the clothing on top. That's fine. Would I do that? So in some cases I would, and in other cases I actually wouldn't. Yeah, let's do a little bit longer for that, a little bit longer. Give ourselves some more room. Okay. So I'm defining where the sleeve, where the wrist ends and where the sleeve begins. Actually, you know what? Before I do that, hold on. Before you do that, let's think about our layers here. Let's get this wrist area. It's gonna be really hard to get in there once we've added the sleeve. So let's blend this detail down here with alcohol and a brush. Clean up those shapes, and then let's add a little bit of skin texture, and then add our sleeve. There we go. That looks good. Blend that in. Let me use this tool. There's going to be a little bit more wrinkling going on right here because of the bend. That's where it's bending. It's a little bit bigger, deeper wrinkles right there. And then we're just going to do kind of a basic X pattern skin texture, matching it up to the back of the hand there. Again, I'm doing this texture way more intense than I want the final result, because we're gonna brush it, mellow it out with the brush. Alright, wrinkles going on the inside there. Alright. Now we take a brush. Brush with the flow. And you just kind of keep brushing till it looks good to you. It's okay if you go too far, you can always add lines back in. Okay. Next, now we go to our step of adding the sleeve. Okay. Let's have it start and end right here on the outside, so it's a little easier to clean up and make it look nice. So let's do like this. I'm just gonna kind of put it in place. Like so. Could even include that as part of the design if we wanted to. That little seam line, that separation line. Okay, first I'm gonna blend it in on this side. There we go. Now, when making your decision, before you get into any wrinkling, you need to identify if there's going to be any bands or belts tied around the sleeve, or if there's any seam lines on the sleeve. We need to identify those first. That'll help us make wrinkle decisions. But let's stay on this edge of the sleeve here. So we got the gravity kind of pulling things down, so we're gonna have it a little more flush on the top here and a little more baggy down here, just like this. We also, remember, we established a wind direction earlier with these at the bottom, which is going this direction. So it's going to be hugged up on this side and a little more baggy over here. Kind of like that. Maybe a little bit flared up on that side too. Okay. We'll work on the sleeve a little bit, or the edge of the sleeve a little bit more. But I'm gonna have kind of a band or a rope or something tied off right here at the edge. So whatever the thickness of your tool is kind of what you want. If it's gonna be a belt, you know, it'd be a thicker line like this, or you can use, you know, a thinner line like this if it was more of like a rope or something. I'll probably go with a rope, because see how we get this kind of rope theme going on our clothing. So let's just take this and we're just gonna push down and roll it around where that rope's gonna be laid down. And it's tied off, so you want to really push it in there so it really looks like it's compressed. Also, we're going to use some of the meatiness of the arm, and that's going to become the thickness of the clothing, because I don't want our arm to look that meaty. If your arm meatiness is not enough, you'll do a lot more additive method. You won't make these so deep, but instead you would add material around it. Okay, so we want to identify these areas. We don't need to detail them yet. That's what you do at the very end. Let's see here. Now that we know these areas are here, we can add wrinkles. Now, looking at the reference and thinking about how a sleeve is moving, we're going to be able to kind of identify how the cloth is kind of going across here. So because of the bend of the arm, the elbow is going to be pretty tight, and the wrinkles are kind of going to come from the elbow. So let's see here. There we go. We got this wrinkle going more like this. And you'll make, like I said, you'll make these decisions based on looking at reference. We're going to have wrinkles kind of in like this, where the elbow bends. And then wrinkling up and around like this. That's kind of our basic direction. So they all have the same flow, or kind of like a twist. The twist. Stay really loose at this point, just get some guidelines in. Once your guidelines are reading good, then you can start really refining. Okay, we're gonna have to fill in this area a little bit here. There we go. Notice how it's already becoming, it's going from his anatomy to his sleeve already. It's gonna have a wrinkle like this. And kind of like this. That's right. Yeah, I want to demonstrate as much as we can with the time. So we have to go a little bit quicker. Wrinkle in here. Kind of twisting wrinkle like this. So you can really start to see our sleeve really forming up. The elbow will stay there. We won't lose that. What we might decide now is if we want to add any puffiness to the clothing right now. We can definitely do that. Like if the sleeve gets more baggy towards this area, then we would want to add material there. I don't know if we need to though. Let's just keep establishing these wrinkles. Let's see. So see, we have a big wrinkle going like this, and we have a big wrinkle going like this. So in between here, I'm gonna do that, a really sharp, short one like this. It's gonna be like those little pinched wrinkles where where it's kind of getting pinched in there. Could see having a kind of a bent wrinkle right there. Even adding a little bit right there. You'll see that in reference, kind of where the bend is. Kind of puffs up right there, right where the edge of the crease will be. Blend that in. Can really see the sleeve coming to life. Clothing, the shirt. The forearm is looking bigger than the upper arm, right? It is. So we can decide, do we want to add to this? Or if we make our wrinkles a bit deeper on the forearm, then it will make the size look not as big. See that? It'll give us the illusion that it's just baggier there. You know what I mean? That pinch wrinkle there, and here, here. Those really help sell the idea. The sleeve. It was the same on the pants. Once you really get the direction of that twist established, it becomes really easy to kind of figure out. And notice the wrinkles on the sleeve, they all kind of flow together like a thing of like a stream of water, right? They're not really, except for these ones where the arm is bending. They're the only ones going kind of against the flow. But even then, when they get towards this, they kind of curl and go with the flow, you know? just adding some wrinkles here on the inside. I'm gonna do that same kind of puffed up edge there where that kind of seam ends. Here. Blend it in. Another little one there. A pinch wrinkle there and there. And here. There we go, all the way around. Now I can still see I am feeling the lack of material on the back side here. That could be a little bit poofier, a little bit baggier. I could see leaving it too, but I think we'll try and add a little poofiness there. Some additive wrinkles. This is all subtractive wrinkles. We're just working with the mass that we've already added and just kind of working things around. I'm gonna trim some of this shoulder off. We don't really need the shoulder. We can establish that when we do the torso. There we go. All right, let's add some material over here. So I'm just going to add the wrinkles, just kind of like you did the muscles, where we have an additive wrinkle. Just following the line work that we've already put down. That reads much better. Blend those in now. Just trying to get rid of those little separation lines between the pieces of clay, but maintaining the same shapes. I'm going to start looking for opportunities to kind of create these Y's and Z's. Cleaning things up. Okay. I think at this point I'd like to brush it and really clean up these wrinkles and kind of see how we're looking at that point. And then we're gonna deal with this end too, don't worry. Just worried about the main sleeve right now. So let's use a larger brush. This size. And we're gonna use alcohol. And when you're cleaning up your wrinkles, you kind of want to aggressively brush and really get these forms to kind of come together in a real organic way. So you can use a wide brush to kind of do some wide blending, and then you can use if you use a flat brush, you can use the narrow side to really get into those wrinkle valleys. But I'm pushing quite firmly with the brush when I do this part. Don't be light-handed. Yep, that's isopropyl alcohol. 91%, I believe. I think I just figured out why I'm sometimes getting crumbles of clay when I do the brushing. What percentage are you using? Because sometimes it acts funny when alcohol percentage is too low. I've noticed that. Where the clay just, I don't know, gets weird. I think it's because of the water. Yeah, maybe you diluted it too much. And that's the water causing that. I've had that happen with lower percentage alcohols before. I could still see there being a need for some more material back here behind the elbow. Just like a piece like this. And that reads much better. Just gonna kind of blend it in. I can see there being less wrinkles on this underside too because it's anywhere where the fabric is stretched, there's less wrinkles. They're not as deep. It's where it's baggy and loose. It's where that's where the deep wrinkles are. Add a little bit here. On the forearm side. Kind of exaggerating those wrinkles in that bend of the arm. Sometimes you gotta go back and forth and work with the wrinkles a bit before they start to make sense, you know. Or it starts to read well for you. Maybe a little bit more mass here above that wrinkle. Good. Okay. Now, clean it back up with the brush. All that new additions we just added. Get those blended in. I'll show you guys a cool trick too with this cleaning up step. There we go. It's looking good. So next, I'm going to show you that trick. We're going to use a small brush that's short bristled. Technically, you can do it with a long bristle. It just has to be a smaller brush. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add really small wrinkles here with the brush. So I'm going to intensify these ones here. You can see you can really subtly push in nice small wrinkles. Kind of like using the brush as a sculpting tool. little bit on the back side here. There we go. Okay, that's reading pretty well for me. For our sleeve. Oh, wait, a little bit right there. This one jumps out at me here. I could see him having one of those elbow patches that has the leather, which we could bake it and then add that elbow patch on the top. It's just a flat piece of clay with leather texture and some stitching, which you guys know how to do. I'll probably do that. Something on the elbow area. Okay, so next thing we need to do is we need to figure out how we want to texture the cloth, and then we need to work on this this edge here. Let's do the edge first. So I'm gonna take my fingers here. I'm just gonna pinch. I'll pinch the edge, get it to be nice and thin. It'll give that illusion of the edge of the clothing being really thin. If you just make the edge thin, it makes the whole thing look like it's thin. Creates that illusion. Okay, next we're gonna do the wrinkles on the sleeve here. So let's see, this can go into there. Just remember, we're gonna be adding a rope into that trench, which you guys know how to do the ropes. We showed that before. And you want to do that before you bake it, because it's just gonna stick easier. Okay, let's think about that wind direction going this way. That'll help us decide how to do these wrinkles, what direction they need to go. Just gonna maintain the same direction all the way around. Maybe it'll actually, it straightens out here at the base of the wrist. And then starts to go the other direction. Towards the other side. See that transition from this direction to flat or straight, and then curls to the other direction. Okay, let's blend that in with that small brush. The more wrinkles you add, the thinner the material is. That's true. Yep. Very true. No, you don't, because you'll see when we get into the painting, the way we decide what we paint first is based on what's lower, what the deepest and lowest point. So in this case, when we paint the shirt part, we will paint the actual cloth shirt part first, and then you could be sloppy and get paint all over the rope. Then you go back in and you just carefully paint the rope. Since the rope is technically a higher surface, it's going to be easy to paint that without getting it on the shirt. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about the painting. That's future use problem. That's what I say. Screw that guy, that future cnotbusch. Just kidding. I do try to do things to save ourselves some hassle later by, you know, making parts detachable and whatnot, but you can't avoid every situation like that. Never enough wrinkles. All right. Okay, so now let's see here. I could see there being a little like cross lace going on there. I might do that. Or we do or even like could even do a button. But since we got a lot of this stitching stuff, we'll just kind of maintain that same theme. And have, you know, spot there. I'm just putting markers. I'm not going to do that stitch right now. And then do a little cross stitch right there. Okay. Now we have this line here. Just gonna make it go all the way to the edge, and then you come in on the opposite side and you can make the kind of like the hills and the valleys. See how we're doing that? That future CNOT guy needs a challenge. Yeah. That'll teach him. That'll teach him to come after me. Okay. So now at this point, I think I'd like to texture the sleeve. Now you want to texture the sleeve first before you add any other layers on top. We could easily add, but if you're adding anything that's like a belt, if we were going to do that belt around the bicep, you'd want to do it just like we did with the wrist, where you push it in now, and that way your wrinkles will change, you know, to affect that, you know. But anything that's just kind of on the surface, like this piece that I'm going to put on his elbow, it's just sewed in. It's sewed in. It's part of the clothing. So I'll end up texturing the sleeve and probably baking it first before doing that elbow, leather elbow pad. So leather elbow patch, we'll say. And then, but I will do the stitching and I will do the rope tied around his wrist before the bake, before the first bake. But first we want to do texture. Let's see here. So we looking at the kind of the textures we got going on here. I think what we'll do, I don't know if I showed you guys this one. On this part, we're gonna use an acid brush. That's this brush here. It's meant for brushing on glue. They're really cheap. You can get them at like hardware stores. But the key here is the bristles are really, it's not like a soft paintbrush. They're really coarse. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use this to create a texture that's going to be perceived as a cloth texture, simply by leaving the brush strokes behind. So get the brush with the alcohol and we're going to brush on. And the key here is to really pay attention to the direction. Once that alcohol starts working, you'll be able to leave behind some really intense brush strokes. I don't know if you guys can see that. Hopefully you can. And we're just going to go with the flow of the wrinkles just to make life easier on ourselves here. The key here is to create noise. You don't want to leave a surface that's supposed to look like cloth. You don't want to leave untextured. In fact, you want a nice fine noisy texture. Doesn't even have to look like what cloth texture really looks like. It just needs to be noisy. A bunch of dots or a bunch of lines really finely done will sell that idea of cloth once it's painted. I'm just making sure that these lines flow really nicely and they don't look all weird or anything. Okay. So I kind of put it on over the area that I want to texture. Then it starts to really penetrate the clay surface, and that's when you'll see your brush strokes really come in. Soldering flux brush. There you go. Yeah, I know these brushes because my dad used them. My dad used them for applying glue to PVC pipes for plumbing. So you tend to find them in the plumbing section. of the hardware store. Usually right next to the glue, the pipe glue. I think this one was 88 cents. Now this one you can see I cut some of the bristles off, so it wasn't as wide. This makes it easier to get into those finer areas. Okay, so we have our texture covering everything. Nothing really standing out, like intersecting lines or nothing. Could even stipple the texture to create an even different effect. I think we did that on here, yeah. It's another way to create kind of like a different styled texture. Now I've sculpted further into the shoulder than we're actually going to need. That, you know, this part's going to be covered, but it's good to create an overlap. So okay, so let's think wind direction going this way. Let's just make sure we readdress this before we move on here. I think that's looking pretty good. Okay, so at this point, only thing I'm going to do before I bake it is I'm going to add that rope, which you guys know how to do from this, and add the stitches, which you know to do from the shoes. Then I will bake it, and then I will add the patch, the leather patch on his elbow in like another layer. It could also decide at that point to add like a little beads or something on the rim of his sleeves, something like goofy and funny looking, you know, stuff like that can always be added after. But this is basically how you would do the sleeve. And just like I showed the anatomy of the arm, if you guys are doing bare arms, you would just finish it off similar to how we did the face with the skin texture and all that stuff. Just use your reference. The main thing though is to get the anatomy looking good, and make sure you, like I said, make sure you hold the piece out in front of you and look at it and decide, okay, before you get into any details, do I like the size of this? Is the size working good? And for me, that's working good. Definitely not adding anything more and just working with the material that was there. If we were to add a layer on top of that, I think the arms would be too big, but this is going to work just fine. So I'm excited to work on getting the second arm in place. So that means next week we will get into doing, we should have both arms done and hands attached, and we'll get into doing the torso area, getting that belt and torso area all locked in. And then the week after that we'll be doing his beard. Probably, I'd like to see if we could do the beard, the eyes, and the ears next week, which I think I can demonstrate those three things just fine. We'll do one ear, I'll texture part of the beard, and we'll just do we'll do the both the eyes. The eyes don't take very long. And maybe the eyebrows. Pretty much everything wrapping up the head. Except for the hat, which he's gonna have a hat. And we'll do, I think we'll do a bonus lesson where we do the hat and we do the attachment of all the other accessories and get kind of the last baking phase finished. So yeah, that's good. Very nice. Okay, so let's switch over to doing our we're gonna go over to Discord and we're gonna look at your guys' progress from last week. And yeah, hashtag, I think we're on hashtag week 7. Is that right? That's what we're gonna be checking this week. So that means if you guys join in, whether you're starting at the very beginning or starting or still maintaining what we're doing right now, no matter what part of the process you're at, you can submit photos on Discord in the CNOT school section, and you do hashtag, if you want feedback next week, you do hashtag week 8 somewhere in the description when you add the post, and that way I can find it easier. So let me pull, oh, I didn't have my Discord up. Hold on one second. Let me turn it on. Let's see here. So exciting to see them all come together. I know, right? Character really comes to life. I'm telling you, there's going to be a big shift in your characters when we actually add the rest of the face. I'm excited for that part. And you'll see why we waited, because the beard is going to be really long, and if we had done the beard first, it wouldn't flow around the body like it should. So sorry, I didn't start my Discord until just now. Okay, we should be good now. All right, perfect. All right, so let's head over to Discord. Here we go. If you're new to Discord, you can get the link in the chat by !Discord. And when you join in, you have to go to this rules tab here, and you have to click on this little dancing guy. I can't really see it, but there's a little reaction, little dancing guy you have to click. Then it'll unlock all these channels here, and you go to CNOT School, and there we are. The school. And then I'm gonna type in hashtag week 7, I think, right? There we go. Yeah, perfect. So next week, for next week's feedback round, if you're just like starting or you guys aren't finished, you want to type in hashtag week 8 for any new posts that you want me to review next week. What a journey I'm having with the hands. I know hands are they're not easy. They're not easy. Okay. She-wolf. I had a really tough time with the hand. They are so small to work on. I hope I got it right. I hope maybe the next hand is easier. I'm going to try the no wire approach on the next hand. I'm working on little pockets on the backpack. I'll do straps and buckles and a bedroll on the top. Going to make a little pickaxe, other accessories, and wrap on the walking stick. Came out nice. Happy on its appearance. All right, let's see here. All right, that's looking good. It is indeed reading as a hand. Not bad. I could see you had a little bit of hard time doing like the lines on the hands. That's totally normal, and that's okay. At least the overall shape of the hand is what's important. Yep, that's looking good. And also, don't be afraid if you're having a hard time doing the details on the hand. You can easily make it a gloved hand. Actually, let me just show you guys that really quick. If you want to skip the details on the hand, you can make your character wear gloves, like leather gloves, and it becomes really simple. I'll show you. all you have to do is you have your base anatomy for your hand here. I should have showed you guys this last time, but anyways. All you have to do is you add a seam line like this. Kind of like that, all the way around. You don't have to do the fingernail details. You just add this seam line. It's amazing how even just this little this detail right here will immediately make it transform into a gloved hand. And so then you just do you do leather texture, you know, your squiggly X's like this coming from that seam on both sides. Yeah, it's the same over here. You add in your seam line. Right in the middle of the fingers. And just make it look like there's a glove there with the leather texture. And then you don't have to do fingernails, and you don't have to do the skin wrinkles. You're just doing like a coarse wrinkled glove. Which, look up references of gloves, but trust me, you'll find it easier to do a gloved hand than to do a actual finished hand without a glove. Just another option for you. Twitch is banned in Turkey. Oh no. Well, good thing we're streaming on other platforms that it's not banned. Welcome. All right, let's go back to here. So I could definitely tell you, yeah, you had a hard time, but it's a very good effort for sure. What the problem here is that you have to be really light touch with those details, like the nails and stuff. It's very easy to make them too deep, you know. Oh, that's looking great. A lovely little bag. Awesome. Looking good there, She-Wolf. Great work. Yeah, so to fix your hand, you just want to, like I said, make the lines not so deep. And also look at the lines on your knuckles, you know. They're a bit more closer together, not as deep as these are. So you maybe just need to brush them down a little bit more. And just really, yeah, look at what's going on yours. Notice they're not as intense as like, you should be able to see deep lines right here if my hand's the same size as the one you're doing. See that? You can't even see it, right? So just less intensity on those lines. Oh, interesting there, Colleen. Dang. I thought Twitch doesn't allow gambling though. Well, that's a bummer. I know there's quite a few people that watch from Turkey. Hopefully they figure out that I am also streaming on YouTube. Okay. Right. Yep. Pictures definitely help. See, I have a camera on my work all the time, and I always use my on-screen view to like make corrections and stuff. So, all right. Keros, let's see what we got here. I'm a little late again. I'm working on the hands. Are the proportions on this one correct? I've also been making a little owl, as I've mentioned before. Any recommendations for the bodies? Let's see here. All right, that's cool. Owls are looking good. The bodies are just, you know, you fill in the form for the body, and then you just do the feather. Feathers are kind of like fur texture. They're so small. The feathers on the body are so small, you're just kind of doing the same texture as you are fur, so. It's different than a total band. Ah, I see. But yeah, it's looking good. Looking very good. Let's see the hand here. Oh, that's looking good. It's looking great. Probably a little bit more meat towards the base of the hand here. See how it kind of comes too much to a point. So a little bit more meat right here on the pinky side. Think of like the palm of the hand as like a square. The finger side looks great. Let's see, that side looks good. A little bit more material here. See that? If you just add a little bit more material here so that you want to see the depth. See when you look at my fingers here, you have the thickness of the whole palm right there, and that should be all one solid kind of piece. Yours goes a little too high, you know, like it's like all the way through. So just add a little piece of clay right in that little crack there and blend it in, and it should be looking great. So you can also I could also see you adding a little bit more on the middle knuckle, just a bit higher. Great job. There's our owls. Oh, you got real busy with making some owls. It's got a whole owl army. Nice. But no, the hand is looking really good. Just those tiny tweaks, and then either make it a gloved hand or make it a, you know, go down the road of the fingernails and textures. So I'm having so much trouble trying to get the wire hand to hold the object that I had nothing to turn in this week. That's okay. That's all right. So you're talking about the gluing of the hand to the object, the wire hand to the object. Yeah, if you don't have any activator spray, you're not gonna be able to do it the way that I did it. Yeah. Trying to think how you guys can do that. It might be best to just sculpt the hand as if it is holding the object, bake it, and then just glue the object to that spot in the hand. You know what I mean? So don't actually have it holding the object like I did. If you can't get it to be secure, just kind of make sure you leave some space between the fingers, or however he's holding the object, that's close to the size of the object. And because it's Cosplay, you're gonna be able to bend it a little bit, you know, to fit that object in the hand. So, and then just super glue it in place. Don't even worry about adding it to. Don't super glue it in place until all the baking is finished. And you might as well just leave it as a separate piece, so you can paint it separately, and then once everything's painted, you can then glue it together. Okay, that's what I would do. Does rubbing alcohol work as an activator? Thought I heard that somewhere. It's actually acetone, I think, is the active ingredient in the activator. I don't know if yeah, it contains acetone. So perhaps if you have nail polish remover and you put it in a little spray bottle, that might work, but I'm not sure. That would need some testing. Maybe alcohol does work, I don't know. Just have to test it. You'll know when if it activates. Just put a little dot of super glue, spray it, and if it hardens immediately, then you're good. If not, then no dice. Okay, let's continue here. Torn, week 7. My work in progress, but wanted to get something in here. I'll be putting his thumb on shortly. Okay, let's see how we're doing here. All right. Definitely work in progress. It's looking good though. Again, be careful with the depth of the nail detail. I know it's hard. You know what you can do? So if you see in the lesson, if you make the lines too deep like this, just brush when you brush over it with the alcohol, just try to get that a little more subtle. But from what I can see, everything's looking good, especially once you get that thumb on there. So good. I know hands are hard, guys, but trust me, you have to face these hard times. If something's difficult and it's hard and it's a struggle, you always have to remember this is a very good thing. That means you're growing. So embrace the challenge, push through it. Gotta continue yourself to, or continue to do it. Don't let it stop you. Okay. Embrace the challenge. Try your best. Okay. It's all you can do. And you'll be just fine. You'll get to the other side of the hands. Avoid it, right? Yeah, no, don't avoid it. Don't run away from it. Embrace it. Fight it. Grow from it. And trust me when I say, even I still have a hard time with hands sometimes. Like it's just a hard part. And we have to bash our heads on the problem till it goes away, okay? Take breaks, of course. Just don't let it stop you, all right? And it's okay to it's okay to balance making accessories in the hands. Just don't let it get sidelined, because you do have to do them. So, but you also don't want to kill all the fun in it, so you got to find that balance. So, baking soda, yeah, baking soda can be used, but it's also kind of like a filler too, activator and filler. Yeah. All right, let's continue here. Interestingly, I have discovered that I sculpt hands about as well as I draw them. After spending many hours this week failing to sculpt a hand using the armature / steel stick technique, I switched over and managed to make something resembling a hand using the wire technique for the staff hand. Okay. I'll be using the same method for the pipe holding hand. Run swiftly away from his responsibilities. No, this is good. This is good to experiment with the different methods. That's why I wanted to show you guys that there's all kinds of different ways to make hands. So yeah, that's good. Good that you're experimenting. Let's see. Well, that turned out really good. That's a successful hand right there. Yeah, very nice. Notice how less is more here, folks. With the folks with the more intense detailing, less is more with the hands. You don't need to have like crazy deep wrinkles for it to be good enough, right? So, yeah, that looks really good. That's a good mission accomplished there, my friend. Now the next act, making the second one. And not only that, but making it so it's the same size. Make sure you guys really double, triple, quadruple check and make sure, in those early stages of the hand making that you're holding it up to the other hand. Have the other hand right in front of you, okay? So that way, I mean, I guess it's not a big deal if they're a little bit off, okay? But if one's like tiny little hand and one's a huge hand, that's where you run into problems. So let's see here. All right, Lou, I made some little steps for both characters. Pants and shoes from the Gremlin. This character is inspired from a board game I have called Gremlins Inc. Oh, okay. I've seen the actual Steam game. I didn't know it was a board game. I've attached the picture for the reference card. Okay. The dude is a steampunk gremlin. Yep. I made for him hands and steampunk cane and glasses. A hand holding a candle for a little gnome. For all those items, I was mixing also some wires and some jewelry scraps. Okay. Let's see here. Very nice. Like the shoes. Buckled shoes look good. Now this is something to pay attention to. This is something I used to get wrong all the time. Sometimes I do. The direction of all the components of the belt, like which end the tag comes out, which direction the pin is going through. So you got to use your reference. So easy to get those backwards. But you did good there. Did good. I love it. I like the shape of the pants, the wrinkles, the little button at the bottom there. It's looking nice. Yep. Okay. I can see it. I can see the character. Yes, it's all starting to make sense. Now I could see him having a little bit more of a pear, or like yeah, like pear-shaped body too, where he's got a little bit more girth around the midsection, which I don't know if you're planning on doing that, but like that really small, narrow bottom, and then bulges out and then comes back up to the top, you know? Something to consider. You can kind of see it here. So you'd flare out his butt to like here and then go up like that. And then, you know, that angle's looking good. Get that nice but see on this side you could totally see that it should go like this and then come in at the butt. You'll have a coat. Okay, well then you can definitely experiment with adding the mass at that point. Alright. Ooh, it's looking nice. Glasses. A cane. You said that was made with some jewelry. Okay, yeah, I see, like the rings and stuff from the jewelry. Something you might want to play around with, which I've been wanting to do, is you make a set of glasses like this, and then you put dots or like a drip of UV resin in the middle to create the lens. I would do it on just not your actual glasses, right? I would do like just a separate ring just to test it, see how it looks. But that could be cool. All right, let's see here. All right. Went for the old one less finger approach. I like it. That reads well. Hand looks good. Let's see. Oh, we got a video here. Yes, very nice. See, less is more with the details. Oh, nice veining on the back of the hand there. Very good. Yep, there's the, I recognize this from the game cover. Okay. Okay, so this hand has 4 fingers and a thumb, and the other one has 3 fingers and a thumb. Are those for 2 different characters? I'm guessing it's for, this one's for the other character. Oh, okay, that's okay. I was just making sure. Woodworking accident, yeah. Battle damage. Seradini. Let's see what we get here. I've been working hard to catch up, but I haven't even watched the class on hands yet. So far, I have shoes baked, but not the pants or the basket. Don't worry about being caught up, guys. Seriously. As long as you're making weekly progress, that's what's important, okay? Weekly progress, something to show during this time. The whole purpose of this class is to create a video library that you guys can access at any time, that future people that come in and are like, I want to learn to sculpt. We now have a place we can say, here you go. Here's a resource that we've made. Enjoy. So it's not you're not meant to be completely caught up. So just take your time, enjoy the process. Live it, learn it, but it's good to also good to push too. Just don't let your quality slip because you're trying to push, you know. Very good, very good. Let's see here. I would like to see you eliminate this thigh gap here. Okay. I mean, he can look that way, but you can if it's still baked, you can still do this where just add some clay glue in here, and you want it to come. Draw a line from the edge of the pant here on the knee straight to kind of where it meets up at the crotch there on both sides. And that will make that read so much better. So you're gonna be adding some clay to the inside of the thigh there, and just draw a line straight from there where it meets up at the crotch to the knee and fill it in. Okay, that'll make that read a lot better. Oh hey, look at this. That's a nice face you got there on that character. Both the faces are done really good. All right, hey, that looks nice. I love that. Good job. Very good, okay. Great. Great work. Yeah, great job. Nice work. Progressing along. All right, nice soldilia. The arm position is to be ignored since I temporarily moved them out of the way to sculpt the pants. I decided to go easy and keep it simple. Might go more crazy on the next character, like you did when I have some sculpting knowledge. Yep, that's good. You know, and it's actually, this is something I've learned over time. It's good to have certain parts of your character not insanely detailed, you know, like having simpler parts next to parts that are really detailed. It creates a more interesting piece. They call it having places of arrest. So you have really intricate, nice detailed belt line, but then maybe the pants are a little more simple. But then you go down to the shoes and they're more detailed, you know, so it's not a bad thing, because these read really well. Great job on the wrinkles. See how we have this line from the middle here straight down to the knee? That's what we want. We want that nice straight line. Let's see here. Got some of that back anatomy on there. Nice. Now he's leaning a little bit on the leaning backwards, but don't worry too much about fixing that, but just keep in mind before you lock in the arms on their final position, you'll want to tip him so he's a little bit leaning forward, actually, because he's putting weight on his staff, you know. Right now it looks like if we were to unpause time, he would just fall backwards, you know, so just give him a little bit of a forward lean, and you can fill in the ground under his feet with material later, so don't worry about that space. Looking good. All right, okay, here we go. Fairy Foundling. I have more questions this week than show and tell. I apologize in advance for a lot of text. I'm sorry to miss the live broadcast, but I don't exist in the waking realm at 7 a.m. Fair enough. My pants are finally done. I'll include the video, but there's not much new to see. Is the lighting any better? It's so hard to photograph this pale dude. Yeah, for sure. Yep. I've gotten my cosplay. I would like to use it from here on out. Would there be any problem with that? The clay I've been using is original Sculpey, not Super Sculpey. No, there's no problem with just switching to cosplay from here on out and just layering, just you doing the same thing. You just use clay glue to attach the new layers and you'll be fine. So I've done pieces in the past where the bulk of it was Sculpey and then other parts of it were cosplay. That's fine. So you can switch to cosplay now. And then I would like your feedback on how to do the right hand. He's going to be holding a big roly-poly that's peeking out of its shell at him. See drawing. I'll sculpt the shell first, then the insides, then sculpt the hand on the bottom of the shell. It's going to need a structural support that I can hold on to. that then I can attach to the arm. I figure I could have a wire come out from the bottom of the shell where his hand will be, then bend it through. Bend it through the hand and attach it to the wrist. Since his hand won't need an armature, does that make sense? Yeah, exactly. That's the perfect idea, what you need to do. So you finish the bug, the roly-poly, like sculpt the shell first, then maybe hollow out the inside with a Dremel tool or with a knife, and then add material on the inside, sculpt the little legs and face and whatnot. Bake it so you have the finished roly-poly. Then drill a small hole into the back of it and just insert wire and glue it in place with super glue or something like epoxy glue or super glue. And then there you go. You have your wire to hold on to while you work on it, and then you also have the wire to attach it. So yeah, that's good. You're thinking along the wrong or on the right track there. So also, should I put wire in each antenna and leg for Mr. Bug? You can try and sculpt it with the cast clay. It should be so small that you don't need to actually have an armature there. Kind of like when I do like fur or hair. But yeah, just maybe try and just make them out of the cast clay, and if you're having a hard time, then maybe consider doing the wire. If I was doing the wire though, I wouldn't cover it with clay necessarily. Yeah, that's gonna be hard to cover that wire with clay. So you might be better off just make the legs individually and try to get them shaped and even detail as much as possible, and then attach them. So kind of make them one at a time. Don't try and get too crazy with the detail on those. Just try to make the shape and the size correct, and then just attach them, and it'll read well once it's all painted up. So, and for fun, I sketched my staff idea, and we'll go with the embroidery floss and super glue method for the dangles. Yes. Okay, let's see what we got here. Yep, okay, that's exactly how I was imagining it. Yeah, these legs and these antenna and stuff, you can just use cast clay, kind of make them on the table, and then use your tool and stick the end of it to the tool and then place them like that. But you want to make sure there's already a foundation piece of clay in that hole. Don't try and stick those little pieces to baked clay. It's not going to want to stick. You need to smush a piece of clay in there first. And then, yeah. Yeah, looks good. Oh, I see. Okay, so this is the wire coming in here. Now, I think you should... Oh, I see. Okay. Yes. Okay. So this is great for sculpting the actual shell, right? But then you're going to have to remove it. I say you put it coming from the bottom where the hand is going to be. So even though it'll kind of look... So start with like a lollipop, just like the head. A smaller one. But have the wire coming through the bottom here. Oh, sorry. Through the bottom here. Not through the top. So start with like a little core. It could be steel stick. It doesn't have to be. Just some sort of little core attached to the piece of wire or whatever you're going to use. And then you could even sculpt it as a full circle, because it'll be easier that way. And then after it's baked, you can cut this valley out with like a sharp knife. Or you could whatever you want to do, whatever you feel comfortable with. Or you can sculpt it as a full circle, and then at the very end, before you bake it, with a nice clean blade, cut that wedge out. It's going to be easier to do the circle as a solid object and then remove that section, and then have the wire come out the bottom where the palm of the hand will be. Yeah. Okay. Very good. Let's see, here's the staff, the dangling bits. Yep, so you're gonna want to make all these little bits. Just make them as separate objects and we'll attach them with the string. That's cool. Well, that's gonna be tricky. This could be some delicate work, that's for sure. You got this. All right, let's see the pants. Lighting is much better, by the way. You can see the shapes better. Just having that light source more intense on one side is all you really need. That looks good. Looks really good. Nice work. Keep it up. Okay. Next person here. Clayton. Second hand isn't quite done. Backpack is baked with more to be added to it. Hands down to... Oh, wait. Okay. Hands down, this has been the hardest week. Yeah. Oh, nice, Clayton. Hands down. That's really good, though. Hey, excellent job. A little intense on the texture, but that's okay. It's not too bad. That's all right. That reads really well. But, you know, see how we can see the tool marks here a little bit? It just needs to be... I don't know. I don't think you brushed it at this point yet. But once you brush it, it should read really well. What are you pointing at, old man? Ah, yes. Accessories. It's funny. I'm glad we did the accessory class before the hand class, because that was like your guys's like, okay, here's the fun part, and then all right, the good news first. Now the time for the bad news. Now it's time to do hands. Okay. Is he holding like a staff or something like that, and you just don't have the staff yet? You know, you can do things this way with cosplay, because even if the staff is not the right size or shape, you can bend the hand around it. So oh yeah, you're right, backpack strap. Okay, perfect. That's right, I remember that. Yep, okay, looks good. I could see his hand being a little bit too open, but what we can do is you can just have like a padded, like fur, you know how the backpack straps have the little padding on them? Maybe we'll just make that section a little bit more chunky with like some fur wrapped around that section. Or we can end up waiting to the very end and like bending the fingers down, you know, so. But it looks good. It'll work. We'll make it work either way. Nice job there, Clayton. I like the little whale stitching there. Ah, yeah. Nice clean braiding. Really good work on the pack. Really good. Toadstool Titan. I've been really struggling with motivation this week, and I'm definitely having a tough time on these hands. Keeping them the same size has been a challenge. They're far from finish, but I'm just pushing forward. You know, and this is a great lesson that there's always going to be a point in every project where discipline is going to be required, where motivation won't be there or inspiration won't be there, but you have to push through it. You have to get, and trust me when I say it doesn't last forever. You're going to get to the next step and it's going to all come back, that drive and that, you know, making it easy to do again. You just can't let the struggle part of the project stop you, because that's actually the most important part. So it's good. Just keep pushing through. I always tell myself, just keep your hands moving. All right. Keep your hands working. You eventually get through whatever it is. So keep embracing the struggle and pushing through, and know that it's totally a normal part of the process. And I will say, the more you do this work, the less that those times happen. The less, but they still happen for me, even with the certain parts of projects where it's just like, oof, but got to keep going. before you know it, you'll be on the next step, and all that inspiration and motivation will come right back. So I always say inspiration and motivation are very fickle things, so we shall not rely on those to get the work done. We have to rely on our discipline. And what is discipline? It's doing something you don't necessarily want to do because you know it's going to benefit you, even though you don't want to do it right now. It's going to benefit you in the long term. So it's sacrificing the short term to gain in the long term. So it's perfectly normal if you don't feel like you want to do something, but you have to push yourself to do it anyways. All right. The hand's looking great. Yeah, you're doing excellent. Very nice. That's looking really good. Really, really good. Can you bake cast clay, bend, then bake again? I've heard before it can crack if you do that. It almost certainly will crack if you do that, so. Hey, what's up, Sava? What's up, Bash? Hello? Yes, don't do that. If you need to bend it, you have to wait until all baking is done. Then you can bend it freely and it won't, nothing bad will happen. But if you bend something, you flex it like this, say like this piece right here, and I flexed it like that, and then I baked it like this, it will most certainly will crack right here. So, okay. Let's see what the other hand's going here. Hey, both your hands, man. Toadstool, you're doing really good. Great job. Yeah, you're pretty much there. Yeah, now just clean up your detail, clean up and do your detail work, and you got a great set of hands. Excellent. Don't be so hard on yourself. Those are really nice looking hands. All right, figure 2. Second hand still in progress. Red ticket. Oh, figure 1. Okay. Figure 2. I see what you mean there, Red Ticket, about the depth of detail, but actually this works really well. And it's because you've blended those lines in so much, they just look like really wrinkly old hands, which works fine too. The problem is when those lines are really deep and sharp, you know, because that doesn't look organic. So, but this works really good. So, looks excellent. Awesome. Holding the potion there. Cool. Yep, looking good, man. I would even say, so I would turn the hand so you see the back of the hand more, because the back of the hand looks really nice. Did a really good job. That's what I would do. I would turn, he's kind of holding it out like this. I would turn it just a little bit so he's holding the bottle more upright like this, and you can see that back of the hand more in the finished piece. If you want to, that's just what I would say. I see you kind of got them in place, kind of figuring out the length. Remember, so if you end up shortening it to here, you just want to make sure the distance between the wrist and the elbow are the same as the elbow to the shoulder, which looks pretty close, so. Right. Yeah, you're trying to show off the bottle, but honestly, the hand I think is more impressive than the bottle, so. Oh. Okay. Let's see, figure 1. Oh, yes. Very good. Man, you're doing a good job there, my friend. Look at that. That's a nice hand. Like you said, stylized, but stylized is good. Stylized is okay for this project. He's got a firm grasp on his book there. The spikes. Oh, on this character here. I imagine it looks like you pre-made the spikes and then you stuck them in there and then sculpted them in place. Little dragon. Cool. Super sculpey on the spike. Okay. Dragon. All right. Really awesome job there, Red Ticket. Keep it up, my friend. I really like to sculpt the hands. Maybe because a lot of work goes into them and the satisfaction is huge. One hand done and the other still work in progress. And I finished the mushroom and the basket pack. Cheers. I agree. Yeah, hands, they always take a lot of time, but the payout is always nice. The difference between if you really try hard and make them look nice and embrace the struggle, or if you don't, you know, it can be huge. It can be like almost make or break the piece. So let's see what we got here. All right. Looking good. Oh, wow. That's quite a stylized and expressive pose there. From this angle, it does read a little bit like the fingers are longer than the palm, but that's okay. Proportions don't matter with these characters, but I just wanted to tell you that for, you know, just for mental note in the back of your mind. But it doesn't matter on this project because it looks good, so. Just had to be a little bit harder on Dragon here. There we go. That looks good, man. Yep. Really nice wrinkles there. These can be a little tricky to do, these little knuckle wrinkles. Definitely, you did an excellent job with all the shapes are reading really nice. And notice here how Dragon did a lot of the deeper wrinkles. Pretty much only the deeper wrinkles is all you really need on the hands. So, because the other wrinkles are just usually so fine you can't even really see them. So, if that's an approach you guys can do too. All right, looking good here. Just make sure, like I said, with the other one, that we get the depth or thickness of the palm there, and that's where the line separation of the fingers should start. You want that whole palm thickness. So, you know, kind of like right, add a little strip of clay right there and blend it in. You'll be looking good. Yep, no problem. Hey, look at that. A very nice mushroom, a very, very nice shaped pack there. Very good. All right. Keep up the good work there, Dragon. Mr. Brightside. Okay, hands are very much a challenge. Yes, indeed. But having a blast all the same, I think I have a decent start on them. I was able to finish up the backpack, debating on adding a bedroll. All right. Let's see what we got here. Ooh, hey, that's a real nice looking pack there. I can always tell, I'm telling you, I can always tell when you guys are using your reference. So good on you. Reference has been used here, because this is looking mighty fine. And when you've executed a pack, when you execute something that you've used reference and really studied, you now know this pack. This style pack is now downloaded into your brain, and it's now part of your inventory of kind of things you can just freehand, you know. So very good. All right, mushrooms looking good, and the hands also looking very good. Tasty mushrooms. All right, let me watch this again. Yep, looking good. Same thing with that knuckle line though. Remember, I get that thickness of the palm. You know, right here, this thickness right here before the line starts. It's the only thing that jumps out to me. And then maybe a little bit more on this middle knuckle here. A little bit higher than the rest. So yeah, just a little bit more. Good. Good work there, Mr. Brightside. Excellent work on the pack, and the hands are looking good. I think you know what, just make the bedroll. You don't have to decide it right now. That's the best part about the accessories. Just make a bunch of them. And then when we get into that stage where we're gonna actually add them, then you can like mix and match and just make your final decision. And the ones you don't use, you just kind of put in a box to the side, and maybe you'll use them for future projects. So, Soldier Dude. Hands was and is definitely difficult, but enjoyable and embracing the journey one step closer. All right, Soldier Dude, let's see what we got here. Ah, that nice morel mushroom. Well, you guys are doing a really good job on the hands, man. I'm really impressed. Really, really impressed. Good job. Delicious morel. Nice use of the tool there to hold it in place. Okay. Good. Doing really good. Awesome. Nice work there, Soldier Dude. Oh. Sometimes it like gets stuck. It's weird. Go down. Ah. Okay. Let me try refreshing this. Oh, let's see what Torrin got here. Okay, I think my first hand is done. Let's see. We'll get back down to the bottom of the list there. Okay, nails are looking good. Let's see. So I want you to add just a little bit more meat in the middle of the hand here. See how it's like really flat? It should be a little bit higher in the middle here. So just add a little bit more meat there. So the hand has a nice let me see if I can show you. Kind of a subtle curve to it, right? And not just super flat. Let's see, right there. This line right here, again, it shouldn't be so far up to where the knuckle is. There should be the depth of the palm right there, okay? So just a little bit of clay right here, and there, and there. And then blend it in, and you should be looking good. Yeah. You could add a little bit of thickness here on the thumb, just a little bit on that section of the thumb there. Just add a little bit of clay here on the inside. So that reads as a little bit thin. Yeah, all right. Other than that, I think you're good to go. All right, let me see if I can actually get down to the bottom here. Why does it do that? It cuts me off. Doesn't go any lower. Weird. Okay, you know what? Let's just manually search here. Oh, okay. So I'm seeing a lot of posts without the hashtag. Do I have a second page option? No, I don't see it. Let's go oldest first. Ah, see, like, now it works. I don't see any hashtags on hands. Would hands class critique be week 7? Update my search. Right. Yeah, it's updated. There's just a lot like this. There's 18 VIX posts here. Okay. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anybody. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's why I want to make sure people knew they were not hashtagging. Just waiting for a final submission. All right, let's just scroll through here. Just want to make sure we don't miss nothing here. Okay, there we go. That's the newest. Let's scroll back now. I see, yeah, okay. Well, I know 18 VIX knows what's up, but man, look at this. Am I using the wrong reference? Ah, it looks good. Looks great. That's looking good there, Okami. Nice armature. Okay, I don't think we missed anybody. Shuli? Did we get Shuli? Rob. Well, here's my okay, I think Rob did do the hashtag. Well, here's my dude to start. Haven't finished yet. I have like 30 minutes more in class to go. I gotta fill in the cheeks and such. This is as far as I got. Time to getting ready for bed. I retook the picture. Okay, let's see here. All right, doing good here. So far, so good. Just need to. I know it's hard to do the symmetry of the eyes, but just try to focus on the shape of the line here. See, look at this line, and then look at this line. See how it's going up on an angle. This one's straight. So just need to bring this down here. And then also look at the silhouette. Look at the outer edge of the face here. And then look at the outer edge of the face here. See how this goes in and then this one goes out? So I just got to add a little bit there. So really focusing in on like the outer shape of things and the lines. It's going to really help you guys with the symmetry stuff. So I got fake leather strips that I wanted to use as the leather straps on the backpack. How would I be able to use that? Would I put those on after the painting stage? Usually, yes. Usually you would put on any mixed media with just glue and stuff like that. So any sort of mixed media, you just need to kind of plan for it, you know, and make room for it. And then after the painting's done, you can cut into it and glue it or do whatever you need to attach it. So we can probably go over that once we get done with the painting, because I will have a few mixed media elements too. So Okay, I got a few weeks behind. Here's where I am, hoping I have an accessory or two done by next class. All right, Art Junkie. Let's see here. It's looking good. And like I said, don't worry about being behind. Pants are looking nice. Awesome. I like the extra thinness of the ankles here. That gives it that really cool style. So, almost like that, Sea of Thieves-esque style. Good. Oh my goodness. A savage dad. Still need to do my hands. I got my accessories done. Hashtag Wheat 6. Okay, so just so you guys know, I want you to always do the current hashtag. So, yeah. You don't have to, like, finish the lesson and then do that hashtag. You just need to do whatever the current hashtag is. So no matter what stage you're at in the progress, if you want feedback next class, you're gonna do hashtag week 8. Okay? So everybody, even if you're just starting, if you're in the middle, if you're towards the end, hashtag week 8, and that way next week I can just find all those posts really easily. So it's looking good. Okay, accessories, all right. Got a nice little barrel here. I see you're using the circle making technique. Turned out good. Nice mug. There's the staff. Staff's looking great. Good job, my friend. All right, let me just make sure we didn't miss anything here. Oh, hey, look at that. Oh, nice. All right, we got a digital sculptor following along. Very good. Accessories looking really nice. Oh, I like this mug idea, like real natural looking mushroom handle. Very cool. Setup. I think we saw that one at the we caught up. We caught up. I don't think I missed anybody. I think we're good now. Just double check here. Oh, okay, I wanted to see this staff. Oh, wow, look at that. Very nice there, Art Junkie. That looks really good. Beautiful shapes. A nice staff indeed. Yeah, I can tell. There's lots of memeing going on. Okay, yeah, I think we're good now. All right, good. All right, folks. Thank you all for joining me for today's class. We will be back again next Sunday for our week 9 lesson. Okay, we're gonna raid the Zandra. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thanks for supporting my work. Oh, let's check. Hold on, let me see. Let me shout out people that subscribed during the stream today. Don't want to miss that. Speaking of support, thank you everybody for those of you that do support me. I appreciate it. Let's see. Let me pull this up. Give me 1 second. Just have to log in. I got a lot of homework to do, that's for sure. Alright, recent events. There we go. The Zandra is sculpting. Yeah, we're gonna raid the Zandra. Let me see here. Okay, raid by Loki, thank you. Prime sub by Tom, thank you for the 13th month. Let's see. Senshi, tier 1, 38 months. Thank you very much there, Senshi. Appreciate it, my friend. Oh, look at that. One just came in there. Hey, thank you there, okay, Okami. Thank you for the Prime sub. Welcome to the cnotbusch Kingdom. Thanks for supporting me. Okay, I think that's it. I think we got everybody. Cool. Thanks, guys. Alright, let's get this raid going with Zandra. And I'll be back on stream tomorrow, bright and early. We'll be continuing our Banishers project. We finished the portraits for them, and we will be doing building of the frame and getting into the body. So that should be fun. Alright, everybody. Let's get this raid in here. Till next time, my friends. Bye-bye.